The CCS Finals Day 3 is underway. We have our grand final just in a couple of minutes, basically. But we still wanted to catch up with TobiWan Dawson. So, well, how are you doing on this fine day?
I'm actually doing wonderfully. I've had myself a nice, relaxing start to the day, prepared myself for the grand final, and looking forward to a great show.
So, you're still obviously kind of new to the scene. But I mean, let's just get a quick history update on what you have been doing in the past few years. Really, where have you started? What kind of games have you casted before?
Well, initially I started as a volunteer caster. What would have been back in 2006, 2005 for Call of Duty, Vanilla. All the new shit, Call of Duty sucks. As well as Battlefield 1942. So that's kind of where I started, and then I got into Dota basically a year after that, full-time 2 years after that, and I've been doing that full-time, paid as at work for 4 years now.
Wow, 4 years. That's well, now that you got into a new game, basically, what do you feel like are the biggest challenges of going into that new game, going into CS:GO? As you said, you only casted Call of Duty, not CS before. So what are the challenges, really?
Well, actually, I got to cast a little bit of CS before, but I'm not going to say I did it really well. And if Pandan's tuning in right now, I don't know if anyone remembers arcade gaming, yeah, I'm sorry, Pandan. I'll get better. Yeah, but the challenge is really, like, the first thing is the generic words you normally have, where you're able to just, you normally fill time. Like, everything becomes more of a muscle reflex when you're a play-by-play guy, and things like gold, mid lane, stuff like that. It slips through when I cast CS, even when I'm purposely trying to make myself not do it. So it's the problem with casting two games at the same time. It's also because I haven't transitioned from one to the other. Like, I'm still casting a lot of Dota. Dota is still my primary job. CSGO is what I really want to do as well. So that's where the challenge is, actually trying to keep two games in my mind and do the best I can to stay up to date with both as well.
So I saw you saying something like it's really hard to basically set something from scratch, really start going into that new game. So what are the routines? How are you actually trying to get better? What do you do to make that happen?
For CSGO wise?
Yeah.
For CSGO, the primary thing I try and do is just block out absolutely everything else that is Dota. Don't think about it at all. And when I'm fully focused on the game, there should be no problems. In the first qualifiers for the CCS, it was difficult because it was always so fresh in my mind, but CS is getting its own little home in there, and I can just turn that part of my brain on, and I'm not having the same problems as I was having before. I'm having other problems that I've still got a lot to learn, and I understand that, but I'm getting there.
So what do you think are your biggest problems right now with CS:GO, apart from what you've already said?
The biggest problem is just team knowledge, really. A lot of it team knowledge. I've still got trouble keeping perspective of money buys, knowing when the cash is going to be at a certain level, and then also understanding how each team plays. This is something which you get in time. You're not going to understand somebody after spending 1 week with them. You got to spend more and more time getting to know them, and that's something which it's going to come with time. It's going to come with experience, and yeah, I know I'll get there eventually.
All right. Now that you've started going to CS:GO, what do you think is your goal? What kind of a goal do you want to reach? How much do you want to cast in the future of CS:GO?
I'm actually not trying to set myself any goals with CS:GO. I'm just trying to play it by ear, because Dota is still a huge focus of what I do. I'm just looking for the opportunities, really, to just do anything. If I can fit it into my schedule, I will. I just want to cast some FPS. That's where and CS:GO is a fantastic FPS to cast. So that's all I want to do. It's a desire for something. I have a craving to cast CS:GO, and if I can satisfy that wherever I can, I'll do it. There's no goals.
Okay, now Dota. It's been 4 years that they had kind of the same system. Always the TI at the end, no really big majors. It's obviously changed right now. It's kind of new to Dota, but still, what do you think? Which system do you think is the better one? Do you think it's better to have 3 majors and possibly a world championship at the end, or is it better to have small tournaments and then one super big one at the end, like Dota used to have until now?
It's better to have a whole series of majors. If you got one major event, you start to eclipse the rest of them, and it's very difficult to keep the scene structured. Like, yeah, it's nice to have a big grand final at the end of the year, but the problem you have is teams only think about that. Like everything else, like if a major becomes a minor next to something as big as the international, like $10 million versus what was almost the trial major, which was DAC, that was $2 million. So it still looks a lot smaller. And as far as the teams go, they still only care about the major event that Valve runs. If any scene is really going to succeed and to avoid the eclipsing, then you can't have a developer-run tournament, and that's what makes CS:GO model so great. Like I've been begging for the CS:GO model for months, if not almost a year now, for Valve, and like, well, there's a sort of an answer to the call now, primarily because it allows organizations like ESL, like DreamHack, to really step up to the mark and to use their experience they've got throughout the years to create the best tournaments you possibly can, which a lot of developers don't really know because they're game developers, they're not organizers.
So would you like to see like an international after those 3 majors that we have now every year? Would you like to see that in CS:GO as well?
I don't think you guys need it. I really don't think you need it. You've got a fantastic scene. The only thing I'd like to see is more of the money which Valve is making off all of your chests coming into the prize pool. $250,000 is good, but we know it's so much more. Like, you've already seen the impact of it in Dota 2. There's so much more money sitting in the CS:GO scene which isn't reaching the players when really it should. And these players deserve so much. They take so. I don't think there's actually any other scene which has the players so like these guys in the middle of the break. You've got your server crash happening. They come out and they start signing autographs with the fans. Like, I've never seen players that are that dedicated to their community, and that's a beautiful thing.
All right, that's pretty much it. Toby, do you have anything last to add from yourself to the HLTV army? Really?
I'm actually kind of cool with the HLTV guys. There's definitely some people. There's definitely some people out there that are going to give me stick, and I'm perfectly all right with that because a lot of it's deserved. Like, I'm casting CS:GO for the first time, and I'm going to make mistakes, and mistakes aren't tolerated. That's fair enough. But shout out to the guys who called themselves the TobiWan defenders over on HLTV, who are jumping up every time someone's like, man, mindless hate. It's like, well, here's a little bit of structure. Like, constructive criticism is a wonderful thing, and yeah, I love it. So bring it on, and hopefully I'll do a better job with each cast.
All right, thanks very much. Now, CCS Finals, Grand Final is almost underway. It's only going to take like 10 minutes. I don't want to keep you any longer. So, see you guys after.
You mean the finals only going to be 10 minutes? Are you thinking TSM is going to crush?
No, I mean it's gonna get underway in 10 minutes. Oh my god. So tune into the stream in just a couple of minutes to see what TS7 Fnatic have to offer.